I'm going to walk you through the process of networking and following up to increase your chances of getting a callback or an interview for the PM roles you apply for. My name is Alex. I'm the founder of the Product Career Accelerator and a former Group PM at Google. Inside PCA, we help proactive PMs go all the way from the resume and application process to the interviews and offer negotiation. Just last week, I personally helped negotiate $500,000 plus offers for 5 PCA members. So, like we talked about in our previous videos, you got a marathon mindset when it comes to looking for work, you've got a really tight one-page resume, and you've been consistent with your applications, applying for roles every single day. But there's another element, which is the follow-up and networking part to really maximize your chances of getting a callback. Practically, the reason for this is that the more times you can appear in front of a decision maker, a recruiter, or a hiring manager, the more times you have them actually review your resume. So if you apply directly and then they ignore your resume because for whatever reason they were looking at 100 other applicants, then when you send them a note that's well written, well targeted, and has a great hook, then you get another chance for them to look at your application. And you can very realistically double or triple your chance of getting a callback if you do this. So what do I mean by well-targeted, well-written note? This actually brings us back to knowing who our audience is, the recruiter and the hiring manager. And all they want to do is solve their problems. They're not looking to hire you. They're looking for someone to solve a problem they're dealing with while they're reading your resume. Like, I need someone who understands growth or has created amazing front-end experiences that convert or whatever else. I don't need someone who's just an awesome person. I need to solve a particular problem for my company. So if in your brief note, you mention those 2 to 3 elements that will help them solve that problem, then it would be irresponsible for them not to call you back, right? They have a problem, you can solve it, they have to call you back. Now, how do we actually do this? My favorite methodology is direct email, because even in 2025, everybody at work, most everybody, still checks their email. So they kind of have no choice but to have your email shown to them as they're processing and reading their own email. You can also do the same exact thing with LinkedIn's InMail. It practically works in a similar way, except emails checked more frequently and more consistently. How do you find people's emails? There are a bunch of tools online like Chrome extensions, free and paid, like Contact Out. We are maybe 40 years into email usage or something like that now, and people are pretty much first name, last name at gmail.com. Gmail pretty much dominates 95% of all emails, if not 99%. What I do is I open up LinkedIn, open up the profile of the person I want to get to. I want to get their email, and then I have Contact Out tell me what their likely email is, and then I just do a sanity check and look at the email and make sure it looks pretty accurate. I also recommend using something like Superhuman or other software which tracks read receipts automatically built in with no action required by the recipient. So then you'll know if your email is actually opened. Okay, so what do we do? Who do we contact and what do we say? First, you have to find the right people. Go to LinkedIn, search for the department within a company that aligns with the job role you're interested in. See if you can figure out in order of priority. Who's the hiring manager? Who are the recruiters? And finally, if those you can't find, then just find a random product person of the highest senior position that you can. One of my favorite ways is just to look for posts from a particular company, especially as they're hiring. When they announce a role, usually the same day, you're going to have somebody in the company write a post to their fledgling LinkedIn network where they're going to say, my team is looking for a hotshot PM for this role. Please ping me or apply. Or they'll say, hey, John on my adjacent team is looking for a PM with 5 years experience in growth. Please ping them to apply, something like that. And what most people do is they actually will open a thread, write a comment, write on that post and say interested with a smiley emoji, expecting the person to do the work and then ping them on a follow-up or something like that. But nothing ever happens from that, right? You've got to take initiative and send a message to them and say, I saw your post, you're looking for a growth PM, that's me, I can solve your problem. Then you got a much higher chance of getting through and getting a call back. You should also try to invite that person, try to connect with them and say, saw your post, sent you an email. So the bigger the company, let's say Google or something, the bigger the opportunity, the more number of follow-ups that I will do. And also the more times I will actually follow up with that same person. You can kind of play this by ear. So if you've emailed a recruiter and you know they opened the email, but they didn't reply to you, you can follow up again, and that makes a big difference, increases the chance of you getting a callback. Sometimes even inside PCA, I get this response from people. Well, I don't like to bug people or seem overeager, but my approach with this, or like my way of thinking about it, is that if I actually am a good fit, that it's not respectful of the opportunity for me not to bother everyone to get that opportunity. So it only becomes a nuisance if I'm not a good fit at all, and then I'm just bothering a bunch of people, and you shouldn't do that. But if I actually am a good fit, then it's not only not a nuisance, but actually it's your responsibility to reach out because you owe that to the opportunity. I have an example of a PCA member who's done telecom worked for Verizon, T-Mobile, a bunch of companies like that all over the world for 15 years, consulted on huge projects. And now if he contacts a telecom position, a senior position, it would be irresponsible of the recruiter not to call them back. All right, we found the right people we want to engage with and follow up on our application. What do we actually say? First, we write a great hook to actually get their attention. So you have to become a copywriter for purposes of getting your email noticed, and you have to be as good as other copywriters that are selling stuff because you're competing with them for attention in that inbox. The hook we want to make is obviously one line. It has to fit inside the subject line, and we want to give a reason for why it's important to open up that email. So the same rules that apply to your resume creation apply here. Just instead of one page, you've got one line to say. Any recognizable tech companies, any recognizable college education, any recognizable big impact or relevant vertical experience, put it in there as abbreviated as possible. If you're going for a monetization product for B2B SaaS company or something like that, you can say, drove 5x revenue increase for cloud sales, B2B business, can do the same for you. That's why you should open the email, because I can solve your problem. Inside PCA, we will actually brainstorm specific hooks for each individual PCA member because all are different slightly, and they're based on people's different backgrounds and experiences. Then inside the content of the email or the message itself, you want to very briefly break down some of your key achievements that relate to the role and show the relative prestige here. Give them 2 or 3 bullet points of why it makes sense to call you back. Like created a new strategy for a team of 20 or scaled audience by 30% within 3 months. Something that sounds most impressive and aligns the most with the job description. And then lastly, add the call to action, CTA, which means ask them to please either reply directly or contact their recruiting partner. So don't ask for 15 minutes to chat or grab coffee or whatever when you're available next week. No one has time for that. Either reply and let me know you're interested or forward my email to the hiring manager or the recruiting coordinator. Thank you very much. That's it. The last point I'll add here is that if you're serious about growing your career and skill set is to start networking in general. You're not trying to land a job here necessarily. You're simply trying to learn about someone's work or their company and make a connection. This is a long-term play that will eventually pay off. Inside PCA, we have a whole networking track, networking workshops, where we'll sit down and help you network directly to the people in your immediate vicinity and in our network. But again, this won't yield results immediately, but it's more of a long-term career strategy. All right, we talked about resume writing, job applications, and networking and follow-ups. Next, we'll cover how to handle a phone screen of your very first callback from a recruiter. Thanks for watching. Good luck in your job search. I'll see you in the next one.